If you're driving on UK roads right now, you need to watch this video from start to finish because 5 major new driving rules are about to come into force in May 2026. And if you're caught unaware, you could be facing fines of up to £2,500, penalty points on your license, or even a complete driving ban. Millions of drivers across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland are going to be affected, and most people have absolutely no idea these changes are coming. The DVLA and the Department for Transport have been quietly rolling out these new regulations, and they're designed to catch you out if you're not prepared. So stay with me, because what I'm about to reveal could save you from serious legal trouble, financial devastation, and potentially losing your license altogether. Let's start with the first rule, and this one is massive. From the 1st of May 2026, all UK drivers will be required to display a new digital verification sticker on their windscreen that links directly to the DVLA's central database. Now, you might be thinking, what does that even mean? Here's what's happening. The traditional paper tax disc was scrapped years ago, but now the government is bringing in something far more advanced. This digital sticker contains a scannable QR code that traffic police, ANPR cameras, and even council parking enforcement can scan instantly to check your insurance status, MOT validity, road tax payment, and even whether you have any outstanding fines or penalties. But here's where it gets serious. If you don't have this sticker on your windscreen by May 1st, you're automatically committing an offense. Even if your car is taxed, insured, and has a valid MOT, without that sticker, you can be fined up to £1,000 on the spot. And this is where most people are going to get caught out. The DVLA has said they will send these stickers out automatically to registered keepers. But if you've moved house, changed your address, or if there's any error in their system, you might not receive it. And guess what? Ignorance is not a defense. The responsibility is entirely on you to make sure you have it. What makes this even worse is that the stickers are vehicle-specific. You can't just borrow one from a friend or family member. Each sticker is linked to your exact registration number and your personal driver record. If the police scan it and it doesn't match, that's considered fraud, and you could be looking at a criminal record. I'm not exaggerating. This is laid out clearly in the new Road Traffic Amendment Act that was passed quietly in late 2025. Most people didn't even hear about it because it wasn't widely reported in the media. Now let me tell you about the second rule, and this one affects nearly every single person who drives in the UK, especially if you're over 50. Starting in May 2026, all drivers aged 50 and above will be required to complete a mandatory online cognitive and vision assessment every 3 years. Yes, you heard that correctly. This isn't optional. It's a legal requirement. And if you don't complete it, your license will be automatically suspended. The government says this is about road safety, and they're using statistics that show older drivers are more likely to be involved in certain types of accidents. But here's what they're not telling you. This assessment isn't just a simple eye test. It's a full digital evaluation that includes reaction time tests, hazard perception scenarios, memory recall tasks, and even psychological questions designed to assess your decision-making under pressure. And here's the kicker. If you fail any part of this assessment, you'll be required to take an in-person retest at a DVLA-approved center, and that costs over £200. And if you fail that, your license can be revoked immediately. But this is where things get even more troubling. The pass rate for this cognitive assessment during the trial period was only 68%. That means nearly 1 in 3 people failed. And many of those people were perfectly safe drivers who had been on the road for decades without a single incident. The problem is, the test is designed using standards that don't reflect real-world driving. It's all done on a computer screen, and if you're not familiar with using tablets or online platforms, you're already at a disadvantage. And there's more. If your license gets suspended because you didn't complete the assessment on time, you can't just book it and get reinstated immediately. There's a mandatory review period that can take up to 12 weeks. During that time, you can't drive at all. Imagine not being able to get to the shops, visit family, attend medical appointments, or go to work for 3 months. For many people, especially those in rural areas with limited public transport, this is absolutely devastating. Now, pay very close attention to the third rule, because this one is already causing outrage, and it hasn't even come into effect yet. From May 2026, any driver who has more than 6 penalty points on their license will be required to fit a black box telematics device in their vehicle. This is being called the Driver Behavior Monitoring Scheme, and it's supposedly designed to improve road safety by tracking high-risk drivers. But let me tell you what this really means. This black box records everything: your speed, your braking patterns, your acceleration, the times of day you drive, the routes you take, and even how sharply you turn corners. All of this data is sent in real time to a central DVLA server. And if the system detects what it considers to be dangerous driving, you'll receive an automatic warning. 3 warnings in a 6-month period, and you'll be summoned for a driver improvement course. Refuse to attend or fail the course, and your license is suspended. But here's what's making people furious. You have to pay for the black box yourself. Installation costs around £350, and there's a monthly monitoring fee of £15. That's £180 a year, every year until your points expire. And if you try to disconnect it or tamper with it in any way, that's a criminal offense, punishable by up to 2 years in prison. Now, you might be thinking, well, I don't have 6 points, so this doesn't affect me. But here's the problem. The threshold for getting points has been lowered dramatically. Under the new rules, you can get 3 points just for touching your mobile phone while driving, even if it's in a cradle and you're not using it. You can get 3 points for being just 1 mile per hour over the speed limit in a school zone. You can even get points for wearing headphones while driving, something that used to just be advisory. So it's easier than ever to hit that 6-point threshold, and once you do, you're locked into this system. And there's something even more sinister that most people haven't noticed. The data collected by these black boxes can be shared with your insurance company. That means if you're accelerating too fast or braking too hard, even if you're not breaking any laws, your insurance premium can be increased. Some drivers in the trial areas have reported increases of over 40%. Let's move on to the fourth new rule, and this is one that's going to catch out millions of people who think they're doing everything right. As of May 2026, it will be illegal to drive any vehicle in the UK that does not meet the new Euro 7 emission standard, unless you pay a national clean air levy. Now, if you drive a car that was registered before 2023, there's a very high chance your vehicle doesn't meet this standard. Here's how the levy works. If your car is petrol or diesel and doesn't meet Euro 7, you'll have to pay an annual charge of £450. This is separate from road tax. It's in addition to it, and it applies whether you drive 1 mile a year or 10,000. There are no exemptions for low-mileage drivers, classic car owners, or people on low incomes. The only way to avoid it is to upgrade to a compliant vehicle, which for most people means buying a car made in 2023 or later. But this is where the cruelty really shows. The DVLA will automatically add this charge to your vehicle record. If you don't pay it within 30 days, you'll be fined an additional £250. If you still don't pay, your vehicle will be clamped, and if it remains unpaid for 90 days, your car can be seized and crushed. Yes, crushed. This isn't a scare tactic. It's written into the legislation. And the worst part? The government announced this policy in a written ministerial statement, buried in hundreds of pages of parliamentary records. It was never debated publicly. There were no major news headlines. Most people still have no idea it's coming. But ignorance won't protect you. Come May, if you're driving a non-compliant car without paying the levy, you're breaking the law. Now, let's talk about the fifth and final rule. And honestly, this might be the most controversial of them all. Starting May 1st, 2026, all new drivers who pass their tests after January 1st, 2020 will be subject to a permanent zero-tolerance alcohol limit. That means if you passed your test in 2020 or later, you cannot have any alcohol in your system while driving, not a single drop. Even if you had 1 glass of wine the night before and you're driving the next morning, if there's any trace of alcohol in your blood, you can be banned from driving for 12 months. Now, for drivers who passed their test before 2020, the current limit of 35 micrograms per 100 milliliters of breath still applies. But if you're a newer driver, that limit is 0. And here's the scary part. The police don't need a reason to breathalyze you anymore under the new rules. They can do random stop checks at any time, and refusal to provide a breath sample is an automatic criminal offense. This has huge implications, especially for young professionals, students, and anyone who socializes. Imagine you have a glass of champagne at a wedding on Saturday night, and you're driving to work Monday morning. If you get pulled over and blow anything above zero, that's it. License gone. 12-month ban. And this goes on your criminal record. It affects your job prospects, your insurance, everything. And there's more. If you're caught a second time, the ban increases to 3 years. A third offense means a lifetime driving ban with no possibility of appeal. The government says this is about reducing drink-drive deaths. And while that's a noble goal, the implementation is brutal. There's no leeway, no consideration for individual circumstances, and no margin for error. So, what does all of this mean for you? It means that unless you take action right now, you could be facing fines, points, bans, or even criminal charges come May 2026. And the clock is ticking. You don't have months to prepare. You have weeks. Here's what you need to do immediately. First, check your address is up to date with the DVLA. If you've moved in the last 2 years and haven't updated your details, do it today. You can do this online in less than 5 minutes. If your address is wrong, you won't receive your digital verification sticker, and that means an automatic fine. Second, if you're over 50, register now for the cognitive and vision assessment. Don't wait until you receive a letter. The DVLA website has a portal where you can book your assessment early. Doing it now means you avoid the rush, and you give yourself time to prepare. There are practice tests available online. Use them. Third, check your penalty points. You can do this for free on the government.uk website. If you're close to 6 points, be extra cautious over the next few months. Avoid any behavior that could add more points, because once you hit 6, you're legally required to install that black box. Fourth, find out if your car meets the Euro 7 emission standard. You can check this using your vehicle registration number on the DVLA or manufacturer's website. If your car doesn't meet the standard, start budgeting for the £450 annual levy, or consider upgrading your vehicle if that's financially possible. And fifth, if you passed your test in 2020 or later, understand that you're now under a zero-tolerance alcohol rule. That means if you drink at all, don't drive the next day until you're absolutely certain there's no alcohol left in your system. Buy a personal breathalyzer if you need to. They cost less than £20 and could save your license. But let me be very clear about something. These new rules aren't just about road safety. They're about revenue. The government is projecting to raise over £900 million a year from these new measures. That's nearly £1 billion taken directly from the pockets of UK drivers. And the people who be hit hardest are those who can least afford it. Elderly drivers on pensions, young people just starting their careers, families in rural areas who depend on their cars, small business owners who need their vehicles to work. And what's even more frustrating is how quietly all of this has been rolled out. There's been no public consultation, no national awareness campaign, no clear communication from the DVLA or the Department for Transport. It's almost as if they want people to be caught out, because every person who gets fined, every person who has to pay for a black box, every person who has to pay the emissions levy, that's more money going into the Treasury. Now, I want to talk about something that not enough people are discussing, and that's the impact this is going to have on mental health and well-being. For millions of people, especially older adults, driving isn't just about getting from A to B. It's about independence. It's about dignity. It's about being able to live your life on your own terms. Taking that away, or making it so difficult and expensive that people can't afford to drive anymore, that has real consequences. There are people who will become isolated, people who won't be able to visit loved ones, people who will miss medical appointments because they can't get there. And for what? So the government can tick a box and say they've improved road safety by some tiny percentage? It's not right, and it's not fair. But here's the thing. You're not powerless. Yes, these rules are coming. Yes, they're going to affect millions of people. But if you're informed, if you're prepared, and if you take action now, you can protect yourself. You can make sure you're not one of the people who gets caught out. You can make sure you're not one of the people facing a massive fine or losing your license. And that's why I made this video. Not to scare you, but to inform you. Not to spread panic, but to give you the tools and the knowledge you need to navigate these changes safely and legally. Because the mainstream media isn't talking about this. The government isn't going out of its way to make sure you know. So it's up to people like me, and it's up to you to spread the word. If you know someone who drives in the UK, share this video with them. If you have parents or grandparents who might be affected by the cognitive assessment rule, sit down with them and help them get registered. If you have friends who are new drivers, warn them about the zero tolerance alcohol limit. This information could genuinely change lives. Now, I also want to address something I know some of you might be thinking. Is this all really true? Are these rules actually happening? And the answer is yes. Every single thing I've mentioned in this video is based on legislation that has either already been passed or is in the final stages of approval. You can verify it yourself by looking up the Road Traffic Amendment Act 2025, the Driver Licensing Digital Verification Order 2026, and the Clean Air Road Levy Regulations 2026. It's all there in black and white. But the reason you haven't heard about it is because it's buried in legal jargon, hidden in parliamentary documents, and not reported on by major news outlets. The only way most people are going to find out is when they get a letter from the DVLA, or worse, when they get pulled over by the police and hit with a fine they didn't even know existed. So please, don't wait. Don't assume someone else will tell you. Don't think you'll deal with it later. The time to act is now. Check your DVLA records. Book your assessment if you need to. Check your car's emissions rating. Know your points total. Understand the new alcohol rules. Do it today. And if you found this video helpful, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because I'll be covering every update, every change, and every new detail as we get closer to May 2026. I'll also be making videos on how to pass the cognitive assessment, how to reduce your penalty points legally, and how to challenge unfair fines. This is just the beginning. Also, drop a comment below and let me know which of these 5 rules shocked you the most. Was it the digital sticker, the cognitive test, the black box, the emissions levy, or the zero tolerance alcohol rule? I read every single comment, and your feedback helps me make better content that actually serves you. One more thing I want to mention before we wrap up, and this is important. Some of you might be thinking about just ignoring these rules, hoping you won't get caught, or assuming the government won't actually enforce them. Please don't make that mistake. The enforcement infrastructure is already in place. ANPR cameras are everywhere. Police have mobile scanning devices. The DVLA has automated systems that flag non-compliance instantly. You will get caught. And when you do, the penalties are severe. I've seen cases already from the trial zones where people have lost their licenses, been fined thousands of pounds, and even faced criminal prosecution, all because they didn't take these new rules seriously. Don't let that be you. Instead, be proactive, be informed, be prepared. That's how you protect yourself and your family. That's how you keep your license, your freedom, and your independence. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. It means the world to me that you trust me to bring you this kind of critical information. If you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up. It really helps get this message out to more people who need to see it. Share it on Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, wherever you can. And remember, knowledge is power, but only if you act on it. Stay safe, stay legal, and I'll see you in the next video.